Nation in sharp decline, it's time to get back on track. Welcome to this special edition of Saving America, and boy, does it need saving. This is your host, Dr. David D. Shine. How about the following crazy situations? Folks, we usually, our regular viewers and listeners know that we usually focus on a particular issue. There are so many this week that I've made a list, and we're going to say a little bit about each of the several things we're going to talk about today. So first of all, the Biden administration has announced that if you're applying for a federal home administration loan, FHA loan, if you have good credit, you will pay more than someone with bad credit. Yes, folks, I cannot make this up. People in the real estate industry are having conniptions about this, and I fully understand. One of my sons got his credit in trouble in college. He has been working for the last 5 years to get his credit score up and is now looking at buying his first property. That's the process, folks. You fix your credit. And if you damage your credit due to divorce or some other problem, you repair your credit, and then you go back into the real estate market. So basically what the Biden administration is doing is creating a new subprime crisis. Remember, subprime crisis was giving mortgages to people who had bad credit. This is not complicated. So that's number one. Number two, there was a terrible tragedy in suburban Houston recently. An illegal alien murdered 5 of his neighbors. He had been deported 4 or 5 times previously. The news reports are not in agreement on whether it was 4 or 5. Doesn't really matter. How in the heck did this guy get back into the country? What is happening with our southern border? The victims here are victims of our non-existent southern border. And folks, no matter what kind of talking you hear from the fool in the White House and his little puppet press secretary, the reality is the border is not closed. The border is wide open and getting more open by the day. And these are the kind of tragedies that result from failing to control the border. Speaking of which, number 3, failed mayor of Chicago, Lori Dummy Lightfoot, is yelling at Texas Governor Greg Abbott for shipping illegals to their city, a city which they have brilliantly declared a sanctuary city. Now think about it. They've self-declared themselves a sanctuary city, but they're mad at Greg Abbott for sending them people who want sanctuary. Gosh, does that sound like hypocrisy to you? Yes, it sure does. So why should Texas bear the brunt of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of illegals? And the city of Chicago is a huge city with people who have real jobs fleeing the city in record numbers. They've got plenty of housing there. Seems to me they could accommodate plenty of people. So old Lori is going to go to the feds and say they should take away some federal money from Texas. Think about that. Take away federal money from Texas because Texas is overrun with illegals allowed in by the federal government. Folks, that ain't working. Number 4, Hunter Biden clown show is still going on and it's heating up. So I want to send out a special hello and slap on the back to the family court judge in Arkansas. Idiot Hunter goes to the court in Arkansas, and he was required to appear in person, and says he needs a reduction in his child support. So the judge wants to know, as a way of keeping check on his claim finances, if the laptop is legal, is really his, the famous missing laptop. And his attorney couldn't answer the question or would not answer the question. So this is really an interesting situation because it sounds like that judge in Arkansas is actually helping out the investigation in Congress. So the saddest footnote to this, and as many of you know, I'm both a parent and a grandparent and proud of both. And I take responsibility for my children, and I love every one of them, and I want them to have the best that I can possibly do, is the Biden family. Now, we're not just talking about Clown Hunter, but we're talking about the whole Biden family does not want to admit that this little innocent 4-year-old girl is not a member of the Biden family. Hell, when she gets to be old enough to understand what's going on, she may not want to be part of this family, but at the moment, it is a tragedy in itself that Biden and his buddies in the family are not acknowledging that this is their little girl. And that by itself is a very sad situation. Number 5, speaking of Hunter, the FBI has apparently been covering up for Hunter for years, and at least Representative Comer is on the hot trail. They have issued a subpoena to the FBI to produce non-confidential records regarding the investigation into Hunter Biden and his numerous legal issues. Now, I don't know that he's ever been convicted of anything, and I don't want to end up like Fox News and Dominion. So I will say he has been accused of a number of different situations. There's some very strong rhetoric out there in the community right now. I don't know what will eventually be established, but I sure am glad to hear that Representative Comer is out there asking for the evidence so that they can fully investigate. I do not think this ends well for the Biden family, but I plan to wait because I'm an attorney. I want to see the facts. So let's see what happens there. But I'm disturbed that the FBI has been trying to frustrate Comer's investigation. The FBI is part of the federal government. Comer works for the federal government as the U.S. representative. He needs to get that information, and now. And last, the coup de grace, both the GOP and the Dems have together driven the United States over the financial cliff. And they're going to have a meeting coming up fairly soon. So Speaker McCarthy has accomplished something that's almost impossible. He got the full 218 votes of the GOP. Not a single idiot Democrat voted for this compromise bill that reduces the budget, get this, just down to 2022 level. That's it. It's not, my God, it's not like they're cutting trillions out of the budget. I wish they were, but I think this is a very reasonable, modest proposal. So you've got idiot commie Biden, you've got idiot commie Schumer saying, oh, we can't do this. We're not going to be blackmailed. We're not going to cooperate. Folks, every single increase in the national debt limit has been through negotiation. It's time for the two clowns that I just mentioned to get to the table, shut up and do your job and make sure that this country does not default. And if it does, I can darn well promise that it's going to be due to Biden and Schumer and not due to the GOP. And I want to make sure everybody thinks about that as they deal with this situation, because it is not going to be pretty over the next few weeks. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of Saving America. This is Dr. David D. Shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, please join us on your favorite platform.